and just think outside the box and get the views.
Oscar De La Hoya wastes my time.
Boxing is the best, the purest, the most beautiful sport in the world when the best fight the best.
I mean, I think he should go down and win a title at 160 because he won at 47, 40, 54, 68. Go get 60 and you got to close it all. That's fine.
Us fighters who get in the ring and risk our lives, you know, there's enough pie for everyone to pass around.
When a fighter gets close to the end of his career and tastes 7 or 8 figures, Oscar De La Hoya says he will always make a mistake. To make his name even better, Terence Crawford just climbed the peak and beat Canelo Alvarez. When we make a new big problem, De La Hoya says, we'll talk about Oscar's clear message to make money and show why a fight with Jermell Charlo is more than just a tough matchup. Oscar De La Hoya was one of the few well-known people who said Terence Crawford would beat Canelo Alvarez. It's easy to say bad things about something after the fact.
Crawford versus Canelo, which I feel Crawford will win.
Yeah. Okay.
But it'll be a great fight.
Yeah.
When asked by Ariel Helwani about the result, Oscar said it didn't surprise him at all. He didn't just pick the winner. He knew what to do a few days before the bell rang.
I've always been impressed with Terence. Yeah. I was not surprised at all. I mean, I called him, I don't know how many days before.
De La Hoya, who has been a fan of Canelo for a long time, said, I know Canelo. I have faith in his skills and limits.
I know Canelo. I promoted him. I know exactly what he cannot handle and what he can handle, where he looks great and where he doesn't. And Crawford was the perfect opponent or fighter to derail the train. That was the bottom line. You move on Canelo just a little bit, and he gets lost.
When the Canelo train crashed, he was sure of his choice because he knew something about it. He also talks to Crawford that way about what needs to happen next, specifically outlining his strategy for recovery and the adjustments he needs to make in his training to avoid similar mistakes in the future. It wasn't a guess. A skilled surgeon, fully aware of the fighter's flaws, delivered a devastating beating. What he says next is crucial to remember. What did De La Hoya think was the last mistake? It had nothing to do with strength or chin. Oscar did a fantastic job with the press statement. As you get closer to Canelo, he starts to feel lost. Crawford was said to have an effortless time beating Canelo because his feet were stuck to the ground.
God, it makes me horny.
Yeah, baby.
To tell you I told you so.
I told you.
I predicted the Canelo Crawford fight like a goddamn fortune teller.
You're the Oracle?
Canelo's feet were cemented on the canvas as he was hitting air. What the f was that? Props to Crawford.
Thank you.
He came up 3 weight classes and fought a beautiful fight.
Good job.
What a great performance.
Did you get what you was looking for?
Like taking candy from a baby.
My candy!
Oscar said on Thursday's clapback that Crawford was just making Canelo look stupid. He replied that Crawford was older and wouldn't let Canelo's age get in the way of his fight.
He just played with Canelo. Made him look silly. And before you start with your shit about Canelo being old, just know that Crawford is older.
I'm too old.
That's not an excuse here. Look, I promoted Canelo's entire career.
Put some respect on it.
And it was a huge fluff.
How do you like them apps?
The only real fighters he's faced were Mayweather, Bivol, and Crawford, and they all toyed with him.
This study is important because it shows the difference between Crawford's skill level and Canelo's individual weakness. Crawford won because he took advantage of a very specific weakness in his opponent. But the next person he fights might not have that weakness.
And it'll silence a lot of doubters. Not all of them, but it'll silence a lot of doubters. And he can move on to the next challenge. And then that next challenge is possibly a top 10 in the world.
I think the smaller Charlo could be even more dangerous. The smaller Charlo has speed and fights harder, and he's in your face. It's a great payday for him, and he's obviously he took that into consideration when making the decision. It's going to be a tough task. I mean, 2 weight divisions is historical if he wins, and 2 weight divisions if he loses. He has the perfect excuse. I moved up 2 weight divisions.
In many cases, it turns out to be the best way to beat a certain opponent. There's no way around this. This is what De La Hoya said when Ariel Helwani asked him if Crawford would quit as champion. No. Why? Now I'd like 7 or 8 figures, so he might try something different. This is the thing that worries Crawford the most. There is no punch, right hook, or weight class for it. That's the catch. Oscar said that a fighter will mess up a few times after getting paid a lot of money late in their career. He had already seen the movie. You don't want the crown anymore. You are happy with your bank account instead. There's something wrong with when they fought, who they fought, why they fought, and how money can make you lazy. It changes everything.
Crawford afterwards hinting at maybe retirement. Do you think he retires? No.
Not at all.
Now he's making the big bucks, right?
Well, now he has a taste of 7 figures, you know, 8 figures, whatever it might be. Once you get a taste of that, towards the end of your career, you're gonna make a few mistakes.
You should be able to tell when your drive changes from wanting to be great to wanting to make money. At this point, you're open to attack. Sit down. You've won the fight in the face, Terence Crawford. The phone is going off. Every deal is huge. Do you think you can lose? This is exactly when Delao said there would be a fight with the Germans. The mistake was put up by Charlo. Oscar said that it was possible for him to pick the wrong opponent and lose. Okay, so why Charlo? Because Charlo scares you more than Canelo. He's not surprised. He is 150 pounds and has a grudge against someone. He was eager to make up for the loss to Canelo. He wants the usual surprise fight to happen. Fighters who are already not interested in him might see this dangerous and hard-to-beat opponent as just another way to make money.
Hey, what's up, guys? Canelo Charlo, super boring fight. I mean, he just showed up for a paycheck. Canelo, obviously, like I said, on quicksand, throwing bombs. He won easy. But anyway, look, if we want boxing to survive, if we want boxing to thrive, we need super fights. Like, all the time. Fighters must fight each other. We have to come together. Promoters, Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman, Bob Arum, whoever's out there, let's come together. I'm calling you out. Let's come together. Let's meet the power of the minds and come up with something, because boxing can die. I'm calling you all out. Let's do this.
Crawford has to deal with more than just how smart Charlo is. Because the last battle seemed so easy, they want to be careless in this one. What about the risks to your health? Don't forget about Jermell. Charlo has already felt what it's like to be a real super middleweight. After losing to Canelo, Charlo was extremely honest and called him a beast who takes advantage of other people. Since it was my first time in this weight class, that might have made me feel worse. He told her he wished he had put on more weight.
I love boxing, so I'm not going nowhere, and you know, just jump right into it. And, you know, Canelo's a motherfucking beast, you know what I'm saying? He'll ox. You know, maybe I felt that more because of the fact that, you know, this is my first time at that weight division. I wish I could have gained a little bit more weight in between, you know, from the weigh-in to that time, but I can't control my body, and I can't, you know, but like God had this already written. And, you know, I'm glad that I was in there with, you know, to put on the performance for Showtime pay-per-view.
In your perspective, why don't you think he could have stopped Charlo?
No, he could have stopped Charlo. He should have. I mean, you don't. First of all, you had a fighter who was there just for the payday, literally. I mean, he's in the biggest stage of his life. Go out there and take some risks. You know, fight hard. People paid their money. People buy it on pay-per-view. Fight hard, because when you fight hard, you don't lose anything. When it's a great fight, there's no loser.
The best thing about Charlo right now is her experience. He has a good idea of how strong 168 feels. Crawford may have been able to beat Canelo when he first started his career at as little as 135 pounds, but Charlo is used to him now. Craig gets a clear message from Charlo when he tells him about Canelo's strength. You don't know how to use the force you have. Charlo, a super middleweight, was brought back to reality, which made him much more dangerous the next time. After Canelo and Charlo's fight, De La Hoya was very angry. He said Dalen told him Charlo was only there for the money, and that she shouldn't take any risks.
Despite what anybody say, that's a 50-50 fight. Canelo got good inside game, but he gonna have to get past Charlo long arms, and Charlo, he can use his reach good. He's strong. He got a good jab. It's a toss up with me.
That's going. Charlo got that punching power. I'm just gonna say that.
I think Charlo's gonna take it. The reason why I say that is because he's just on another level.
However, this report shows exactly why Charlo is so dangerous at this time. The big check has already been cashed. The fact that he did nothing has already made him feel bad. Charles will not be the same person he was when he faced Canelo when he fights Crawford. Forgive him so badly that he has nothing to lose and everything to gain. Crawford sometimes has bad dreams about Charlo's wild side. In his fight with Canelo, Crawford was very smart because he used the fact that Canelo was predictable to his benefit. Charlo is a totally different person because he is desperate for work and surprises everyone. It's simple to understand. If your opponent has been shamed in public before and learned from it, don't think less of them.
The elite level. So I think it's a great fight. I just think that the press conferences were freaking lame.
Why?
Just because it was all staged. I mean, come on, guys. Look, if you want to see Canelo pissed off, take a look at my press conference. With Munguia and Canelo. That's Canelo pissed off.
De La Hoya wasted my time with this question.
Yeah, we saw Oscar De La Hoya trying to say that the fight was going to take place maybe in the daytime.
Yeah, this is what I want from you, to say his name. I decide with Dana White to have a breakfast in MGM at 10 a.m. inshallah. Then we will go to the arena to have the fights quick, and after that we will go dinner to Carbon, and in the night we will watch Conjuring because it will launch in September. Oscar De La Hoya wastes my time with this question. Of course, this is in the peak. This is the boxing, the sport #1 in the world. This is Canelo and Crawford.
Take a look at the different story that has been getting a lot of attention online lately. It has been helpful to use sites like Fighting Ego. This argument says that Crawford's whole resume is made up of things that don't work. Some say he beat a bad boxer called Ricky Burns, a 5'5" man from Gamboa who was getting bigger. The gunshot hit Josie Benvids in the leg. It's almost impossible for Kelbrook to see because his eye sockets were broken. And Errol Spence, whose retina was cut out after he was in a car crash. Some say that the Canelo he beat wasn't even fresh and had slowed down. If you agree with this idea, Charlo, who isn't recovering from an injury that could kill her, could be one of the best, healthiest, and biggest opponents you've ever faced. But let's show that the assumption about broken things is wrong right now. One thing that does better than them all is fighting IQ. A Reddit thread said that Canelo only had problems with fighters like Mayweather, Bivol, and Bid, who were smarter than him. It's true. The only way Crawford can win is on time. He does this by completely breaking down the mind of his opponent. Not only does he beat fighters, though, he splits them up. The damaged goods claim is something they often use. Crawford's most powerful tool is the way he thinks. He was going to use it against Charlo. There's nothing wrong with his resume. It depends on whether his IQ can help him again figure out how to beat someone who is naturally bigger, stronger, and more hopeless. Oscar didn't think the fight between Canelo and Charlo was very exciting. Okay, he did, for sure. They only threw one punch the whole fight. What he said.
So, you posted on social media the other day, you're kind of fired up about the Canelo fight. Why didn't you like that fight?
Because it was boring.
What?
I mean, when a fighter throws one punch, when two fighters throw one punch in one round, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, I'm a fighter who has been in there, in the line of fire, throwing 100 punches around. Like, the fans want to be entertained. So that was my critique, is coming from a fighter, coming from a world champion. Yeah, I was bored.
But Crawford's team would be wrong to think that Charlo was a dull fighter after seeing that tape. Explain your choice of how to fight Canelo. Because the stage, power, and weight scared him. He wouldn't be scared to fight Crawford because he thinks Crawford is too small to beat him. The dull show was the one time it didn't happen, not often. Charlo has a unique style that he didn't even try to use against Canelo. As De La Hoya himself said, instead, Charlo used the shell-shocked fighter looking for money. Crawford would go up against the real Jermell Charlo, who is the clear champion. That's a mistake you should not make. What De La Hoya said about money is just the start of the story. There is real action outside of the ring, where all boxes are afraid to work because of promoter fights, backstabbing, and billion-dollar cases. This chaos has an instant effect on the ring.
I just look, the fact that a new entity is coming into boxing and already wants to change a bill that has been in place for decades that protects fighters, to me, is shady. That's the bottom line. Think about it. It's shady. The first thing you want to do is change the law, change the rule, the Muhammad Ali Act, which protects the fighters. I instantly think about what they did with the UFC. I instantly think about the UFC signing hundreds, if not thousands of fighters, and they don't even see the light of day. There's total transparency with the bill. You're obligated as a promoter to disclose everything that might be in the pot. The fighters call it the pot. And you're obligated to disclose, the financial status of your event, of the fighter's event. If you're a main event fighter or championship fighter, you have every right to look at the books. And with this amendment, they're gonna try and eliminate that.
The tone was set by Hoya himself. He said that Turkey should not pay for the fight between Canelo and Crawford, and that the people who set up the fight should be fired.
I thought, I was proud that boxing was on Netflix, just being a purist of the sport. You feel proud. I was not happy with the matchups. What I saw the week of the Canelo fight, they tried doing some contender boxing stuff. You're having precious contenders, right? Who I know can become world champions 3, 4, 5 years down the road. They're getting eliminated and beat. And you're never gonna hear from them again. That's not fair to the fighter. Now, if that's fair business to them, more power to them. Let them build whatever league they're trying to build. It's okay. Boxing here is safe with me and Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, the serious guys in the sport. The guys who respect the history and the honor that comes with it. You have a global platform, Netflix, Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford. Every fight that a new audience is gonna watch should have been a known name, should have been champion versus champion. The matchup should have been better. I thought it was a slow night. Completely a slow night. It was still great for boxing because it's out there and people are watching all over the world, but it left a little bad taste in my mouth.
When organizers fight and get into bad blood, bad undercards happen, which slows down the sport. Additionally, De La Hoya was upset that Showtime was leaving boxing, stating that it would be bad for the sport, but would open up other possibilities.
You met with Bob Arum yesterday. Is there anything you could share about that meeting, what you guys have going during the press conference?
Yeah, there's really no details I can mention, but let's just say that some really big fights are going to happen very soon. And that's why I called out all promoters like Eddie Hearn, like Al Heyman, who's probably going to be impossible to talk to because nobody ever sees him. But we want to bring promoters together to work together and just create and the biggest fights possible for the fans. That's all I want to do, and that's what boxing deserves.
No one is in charge now that TKO is in. Showtime is out, and marketers are suing each other.
I just think that without that rule there, without that clause there, or wiping out the Muhammad Ali Act, the fighter is vulnerable. The fans are not gonna watch real boxing, and real boxing is the best talent that's developed fighting the very best talent. They're never going to see that because they're going to eliminate each other in their first fight, second fight, and guess what? If you don't win the second fight, you're going to be shelved, just like the UFC does with their fighters.
For boxes like Crawford, this means that their 8-figure salaries are now at risk. He might have to take a bad fight like Charlo just to get paid instead of waiting for the right one. The chaos at work makes it hard for you to keep your job.
Knows his next move,
right?
And what would you like his next move to be?
I think he should go down and win a title at 160 because he won at 47, 40, 54, 68. Go get 60 and you got to close it out. That's fine.
Yeah. Would you like to see a rematch with Canelo?
Not really.
Okay. What about Canelo, I guess? What would you like to see in the future
I don't know. Canelo can do anything he wants to. He's done so much already. There's really not much left for him to do. So it's really, I think Canelo probably could either take the rematch or close the door because Canelo's done way more than that.
Yeah.
Does Charlo even seem like the right person to fight? No, Oscar said. You also need to look at the shark swimming under Crawford. Time organization is Crawford's most important problem. He can only fight Charlovines, Boots, and Virgil. Every time, he has to choose who to fight. He only has 38 years left before the younger, hungrier Tigers take over.
Do you think there's any chance the winner of that fight fights Terence Crawford? I know he's 168.
Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities.
Because that would be the next massive fight.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Right? I mean, imagine that. That would be the next massive fight. But then you have guys who are, the gatekeepers like Fundora.
Yeah.
Who's an amazing champion. I don't know how marketable that fight can be. We have to go through the system. And the system is WBA, WBC, WBO, and IBF. Because fighters, first of all, love fighting for world titles. That's the bottom line. And you cannot erase that history.
De La Hoya thinks that he needs to face them if he wants to be truly great, even if it means giving up that zero. The most important problem is Crawford's personal history. Should he give up everything to be known as the best?